channel, make sure we're on and up. Oh, we're live. Okay, we're live. Hey, happy Saturday, everyone. It's nice to see you. If you're here with me, let's check and see who we got here. If anyone's in the room with us, drop me a hello. Say what's up if you're here. Happy Saturday, happy Saturday. As you can see, I'm in a UE5 window today, which is unusual, right? Normally we work in UE4, but a couple months from now, I'll be teaching the next 8-week live course that I've been teaching, and so that'll be in UE5, and so we gotta get down that road. We gotta start using UE5 wherever we can, and so I figured live on a stream is the way to do that. Get the feet wet teaching in UE5 as opposed to UE4, which is where I have made my bread and butter over the past few years. It's been my engine of choice, UE4, but today, UE5. So, sign up to experience the best. No. Oh, I'm not signed in. That's funny. I'm not signed into my own Twitch stream on the other monitor. 1 second. Let me do that, and then that way I can 50834. Okay. That'll help me be able to just glance at the chat for a second here and make sure we're not doing anyone a disservice. Okay, cool. We're good to go there. I'll go back to the big screen here. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure some folks will roll in, but happy Saturday if you're with me. Close that out. Okay. So today, like I said, we're working in UE5. And I think we're going to make a little kind of burst effect. I saw this thing on Twitter, and I thought it looked really cool, and I wanted to take a stab at making it myself because I thought it might be a nice, simple thing to do. And then we're going to add our own twists and stuff after the fact, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. So I was just starting the process of making my first emitter here in UE5. So I was going to call it burst, or I guess we can call it PS_burst. And then yeah, we can right click and create a system out of that emitter and burst system, and then we'll drop burst system into the window here. I created it from a template, so the omnidirectional burst template. So we'll make sure we're looking at zoom in by pressing F to make sure we're looking at our effect, and we can hit Q to cue the effect. One thing I've noticed about UE5 already is that it's a little chuggy for some reason. It takes a lot of resource to use it. My computer seems to be a little bit upset about it sometimes. So I have to figure out what's going on with that, but it's not too bad. You know, it'll do for what we need. One thing I want to set up, which I think is kind of a cool way to look at all your effects and monitor stuff. That is like a burst one-shot particle is through a blueprint effect or a blueprint system setup that I've done in the past that I think is really helpful. And I've posted about this everywhere, even on my Twitter, on our Discord. So I'm going to open the Discord so as not to kind of stumble through it. But while that's opening, we will create a new folder and we'll call it blueprints. And in blueprints, just drag this into the content portion, move here. Opening the Discord and just going to look at the shader bits and tips section, which is where I've dropped a lot of tidbits of knowledge, and honestly, our community is so cool. Everyone else contributes to it as well, and um, so we just have a wealth of knowledge in this one kind of Discord channel that's really helpful. But one of the things that I posted there is about creating a blueprint that will loop your one-shot effects. And so I'm going to do that now, so we can just kind of look at this thing over and over and over without having hit the question mark button, because I think that can get a little annoying if you're um, just trying to get something going here. So we'll just call this BP underscore loop effect. Oh, hi there. Hi. Welcome in. Welcome in. Loop effect. Happy Saturday. Wherever you are in the world. You said evening/day. So it's about 12 noon for me, but yeah, welcome in. I was just in the middle of starting to construct a blueprint that can help play an effect over and over and over. That's like a one-shot kind of effect, so an explosion or a burst of stuff. Instead of having to hit the Q button or the question mark button over and over and over on the keyboard to get it to play over and over, you can do that through Blueprint. You can just make the effect loop, essentially. And one question might be, why not just set it to looping in the particle system? Well, you're going to have multiple elements. They're all going to have different timing, and you could set all their loops to be like a lengthy loop of like 4 or 5 seconds, and then but it's just easier to do it through Blueprint. So only updating every 10 frames. Audio is fine. Interesting. Huh. Well, that is interesting. I wonder why that would be. Let me know if that gets better in a second here. Let me finish what's going on in the blueprint, and then we'll jump back, and I'll see. Maybe there's something weird going on. You mean UE4 or me as well? The stream video is choppy. Audio is fine. Huh. The like in UE4 or me specifically, the video of me as well, or UE5, I guess. Activate. Yeah, let me know if it's just the UE5 window, or if it's everything. I was gonna do. Yeah, I was gonna create a particle system in here. So I'll add a component, particle system. So it would be Niagara, right? Particle system, and then drop that here, and I would just drag this into the window here, and I would do look for activate, which causes this particle system to play, and we can plug that in. So right when this blueprint is called, it will play this particle system. We can then give it some amount of time between loops, and you can do that with a delay. Again, let me know if the stream quality is about my video, like the actual footage of me, or if it's just the Unreal window. So we're going to add a variable here. We're going to call it loop time. Working fine now. Okay. Both? Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, one of the things I was mentioning before people started showing up is that for some reason the UE5 window kind of weirdly takes a lot of focus from resources when you're switching windows, and so sometimes it'll kind of like make things lag a little bit. Now it's fixed. Yeah. It'll make things lag a little bit when I click away from the window and click back. It's a learning curve because UE5 is so new. I think it's just something that to do with how the engine takes resources from the PC. So if it's fine now, I'm happy about that. But please let me know if that changes. So yeah, so we're just going to get this time. Instead of calling this just float, we're going to call this loop time. So this will be the time at which our particle system loops. And we'll just plug that into the delayed duration here. And so this time by default, I think if we compile and save, is going to be 0 seconds. So we'll just be able to set that time for ourselves. We can make it 2 seconds or something. And then we're going to deactivate our particle system again. So boom, deactivate. Oh, sorry, that says activate. We want deactivate. Activate. Yep. The Niagara system. And we don't need 2 of these. We could just string this along with the same one and delete this. And then what makes this loop over and over is literally pulling this back to activate again. So we could add a reroute node here that gives us something else to look at other than kind of 2 strings right on top of each other. But essentially what happens is the blueprint's called, it plays, then it waits 2 seconds, stops playing, and then plays again. So we'll compile and we'll save, and we'll go back to the editor. I really like the look of the UE5 editor. I don't know if everyone on stream with us today has jumped into UE5 yet, but I actually really like what it looks like. It's a little confusing, and there's some things about it, UE5 in general, that I think are a little clunky and were better in the previous version. But that's the case with everything that's new. You get so comfortable, and then all of a sudden, you kind of fall in love with some of the new stuff, and you never look back. So we dropped this thing in editor here, and what we can do is come over here to Niagara, and we can choose our burst system, and we'll save all. And if we were to hit play here, which hopefully that doesn't kill us. What? There it is. Yeah. So we'll set up a camera or something to get that to work better. But for now, that setup is just nice because what we'll be able to do is just watch our effect play over and over when we hit play in the future. So just a little cool setup to loop an effect over and over if you're really just interested in seeing it play over and over. But for now, while we're testing, we'll just continue to use our question mark. But I always find little tidbits like that useful because it helps create a space where you can actually test your effect. So question mark, question mark, question mark. Yeah, I do. I like the new look a lot as well. Kotek Ninja. I think it's really pretty and sleek. So we're gonna make kind of an interesting burst effect today. So we're gonna need some materials and some textures and things like that. So let's start. We're gonna call this the m underscore burst. Let me show you the reference that I'm looking at. I found a really cool tweet on the internet. This may or may not. Oh, okay. Now it's back. Seems like as soon as you are in the map editor, the stream gets very choppy. Only been in UE5 a few times. Interesting. Okay. It seems like whenever I'm here in the editor, the stream gets choppy. Huh. Yeah. The frame rate drops or something? Interesting. Okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I definitely wanted to try UE5 tomorrow for the first time and create a nice portal effect. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think you should jump in. I had some hesitancy at first, but now that I'm in it, I really like it. So we'll weather through the storm of the choppiness, and hopefully it'll clear itself up here again. We're gonna need something from Photoshop, so we're gonna open up our little texture making space. I wanted to show the reference to the effect that I thought looked really cool. It's just a kind of like a simple burst effect. I don't think it's going to take very long to make. So maybe we'll get to a couple different things, but I thought this was really pretty and simple and not too complicated. Perfect kind of stream effect. So it's just about timing and and that kind of stuff. But there isn't too much going on here. So let's paint something in Photoshop that looks a little bit like some of these burst pieces that you see coming off here. Um, and then we'll construct this in UE5. It'll be our first stream using UE5 and constructing something in it. So I'm gonna make a new uh, uh, Photoshop file, and it's gonna be 512 and I'm gonna grab my tablet here so I can draw a little bit. And we fixed I had some tablet issues a couple streams ago, and they should be fixed now. So, oh, also, just want to make sure I'm right on volume too. Okay, so yeah, so we're just gonna paint. Let me bring the canvas in a little bit so you can see a little better on stream there. And we'll shrink our brush here, and we'll probably want something. Let me make sure I'm staring at my reference so I can understand what I want to paint here. We'll probably want something soft. So let me go get a soft brush here, because we're all in hard here. So soft brush, and we'll just sketch something out. I think the shape is sort of like a kind of a crown shape, something like this. Oop, that's a bad stroke here. Something like this, which I know is crude and probably not the right way yet, but we got to start somewhere. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. We'll probably do this and then that. Yep. I like the first stroke. Okay, so we had to start somewhere. I think that's fine. I want to make sure. Oh, and I was drawing on the background too, so that's gonna be good. We'll just duplicate this layer, and we'll make the old layer, the background layer, black, and we'll just use this as like a little stencil kind of thing to get a good sense of where we are. So I'll move it over a little bit, and I'll like turn the opacity down just a little bit. And I know that's harder to see on stream, but I'm gonna paint brighter right now. So we'll bring this up to kind of a 50, and sometimes I like to draw small first, so I don't feel like I have to cover a whole canvas. Yeah, and I think we'll probably want something that's a little bit kind of peaked at the top. So something like that, maybe. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we're gonna use this as our template instead. We'll drop the background one here, and I'll come in and use a heavier brush and clean up a little bit, but then we're just gonna throw it in because there's no reason to be precious about it now. Oh, turn that off. In fact, let's just delete this layer. It's not helping us anymore. Since we're just at the start, there's no reason to really be sort of precious about the work we're doing here. Maybe select a different window in UE5 which isn't the map getting rendered. It seems to also break the stream's FP for other software, like 2 frames per second right now. Oh, really? Holy crap. Okay. What about this? Let's see. Never mind. It's now fine again. I'm kind of like, that's kind of interesting. What if I downsized it altogether? So it just wasn't even up. I wonder if that helps. Tell me if that does anything. I'm glad I'm figuring out all these kinks now. I know that doesn't make for a great stream for you all, but it helps for future streams. So hopefully that's something. We're gonna use shape dynamics to kind of start to get a little bit more artistic here. And what I'm going to do is try to jump off some of these other uses of the internet currently and see if that helps with it too. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Just give me word here if anything's better or worse. I'm just gonna make this. I'm gonna keep it the same size, and I'm gonna paint with with the same brush we had that, but tapered now. And I'm gonna bring up my opacity a little bit so it's a little brighter. And let's zoom in a little bit. And there we go. What? 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 Shape dynamics. You're on. Pen pressure. You're on. It's weird. It's not getting any shape dynamics either. Huh. Okay, well, we're gonna do it without. I find that to be strange, but how about this? We are gonna we'll refine later. Nothing weird there, huh? Pen pressure's on. Herm. And shape dynamics is on. Okay, maybe if I turn off that and turn it on again, pen pressure. Okay. Last stream before I started, I closed Photoshop and opened it after this happened, and it just started working. So let's save our file somewhere in our project folder, which is on the F drive. Okay, so as soon as you jumped back to UE, it started again until you opened up the desktop, but hard to tell you with the stream delay. Okay, wonder if it's using your GPU for stream encoding would be better, depending on what GPU you have. Using your stream GPU for stream encoding. Probably would be. Huh. Okay. Could be. UE is quite CPU heavy. Yeah. I don't know that I always have this issue with 4 though. So I'm curious. I would love some pointers on like what I used to stream is OBS, and I just uh, I mess with the settings enough to give like a generally good stream quality, like 1920 by 1080, not like a 4K stream or anything. But I don't know that I'm maybe utilizing my graphics card in the best way when it comes to streaming. So maybe I'll have to click away in some places and see if I can't optimize knowing UE5. Might be more intensive. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it textures. And in the textures folder, we're just going to drop this and we're going to call it burst and t_burst. And save it. And then we're going to close Photoshop and open it again and see what happens. Do I get my tapering now? File, open, burst, open. Come on. And then zoom in. Do I get tapering? I get tapering. Yeah, I don't know why that happens to me. Like my Photoshop doesn't understand pen pressure the first time for some reason. It's an older copy, so maybe it's just getting past its prime, but delete. Okay. Now we can be artists again. Here we go. So grab this and we'll paint gingerly, kind of a middle line here. Trying to mess with some thick thins. Yep, here we go. Yeah, and we don't have to be precious because we're gonna blur this. I just wanted to make sure there was a very distinct kind of direction and shape to all these lines. And then, okay, so now I'm gonna go up here to blur. Make sure I'm looking at the stream here. So we're gonna go up here to blur, Gaussian, and we're not gonna go too far, but enough that we get like a kind of a center line. And when we look away and look back, that's pretty, yeah. I think there could be some more fidelity in this, but it's a good place to start, especially if we're having some stream issues. I don't want to linger in places yet. So let's just make sure we're taking full advantage of the texture space. I guess we don't need to do that really. We can just half the canvas or something. Yeah, we'll crop the canvas in half. Image canvas size this way, and we'll do pixels. And so width will be 256, and that way we'll just we won't stretch the texture, but we'll stretch it vertically. It's kind of like, you know, when you were in school and they made you draw a turkey. I don't know if anyone's done that before, where you put your hand down and you draw a little. It feels kind of like that kind of drawing, which is really funny to me. We'll come back and we'll add some like cool. I have a pen pressure problem with Affinity. Yeah, you should check out Svovox, the stream professor, when you have time. Okay. Yeah. That's thank you, Cotech Ninja. That's awesome. Any resources to help is definitely appreciated. So, I want to be artistic for like just a second here and paint something in along the bottom of this. And you can tell me if it sucks or not. Actually, I'll do it on a new layer just so I don't mess up the start of this. So I kind of want to do something like this where I'm like adding a little more thickness to this bottom space, and we can be really kind of yeah, something like that probably is gonna do us better, but we'll see. I'll come back and make this pretty after, but yeah, the ones that are in the example I don't think are similarly thick, but you know, you gotta learn to be your own artist out here. So, oh, pen pressure's not on in that too. Cool. All right, we're gonna save, and we're just gonna use this as a mask. We can go back to UE4. Hopefully, it doesn't like chug us to death here. Source content, import. So yeah, so I was just messing with the floor texture to make sure we had some plane to look at here. But if we go back to the content browser, what's the resolution of the texture? Oh, yeah. It's like it's a 512 or yeah. Oh, you probably asked that before I closed. So yeah, so it's just a mask texture. It's not pretty, but it doesn't need to be yet. So in our burst material, and again, if the stream is choppy and crappy, I apologize. I hope I can find a way to fix that here on future streams. If you hold T and left click, you get a texture sample here, and we're going to grab our burst texture, and we're just going to plug this into the emissive channel. And the material that we're going to use for this, it doesn't need to be lit at all. So we're going to use unlit as our blend mode, or our shading model. And we're going to use translucent as our blend mode. And we're going to use the mask we created in Photoshop as the opacity. And we're going to look at this on a plane. So this is the work we did in Photoshop, and it looks crappy. But it'll look better once we start to work with it a little bit. We're going to get particle color here, and we're going to take the RGB of that and plug it into emissive color. So now this should be white, which is great. And then we're going to multiply the alpha channel of the particle color by the mask that we created in Photoshop and plug that into opacity. And so that should give us the ability to fade this particle out over time. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to save. and I'm going to go back to the demo space, and I'm going to go to the shelf, and in the particles folder, we're going to go look at our burst, our particle burst, and we're going to make some changes in Niagara. So tell me if I'm choppy here. I don't, yeah. So here we are in Niagara. In the sprite renderer, we're going to go find our burst, and so now all of our particles should be bursts, and I can't really see that they're bursts. So what we're going to do is come over here to particle size, which is unset, and we're going to make them uniform. Actually, we're going to make them non-uniform, and we'll maybe go random later, but we'll make them 20 by 40, so longer than, or yeah, taller than wide. Could even be 80. Probably even, let's just make it a crazy number so we can see them. 300, 3000 even. Why is the sprite size not doing anything for us? Particles. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Unaligned. Face camera. None of that stuff should mean anything. Up here in particle, sprite size. Yep. So why aren't you changing? Okay, so let's just do uniform, and let's do 5,000, 100,000. Oh, I know why. Sorry, this is a thing that often happens. Scale sprites by scale sprite size. We can turn that off, and then there's something in here that's like make it, calculate their size by rotation inertia. So now they're gonna be humongous. Yeah. This often happens. This is like a default thing that they set using like mass and scale, like physics, to change the size of the particles, and it doesn't necessarily work for a lot of conventional visual effects work. So back to what I was doing. Here we go. 100 by 200 maybe. So taller than they are wide. Oh, 200. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna go over to our sprite renderer, and we're gonna go to alignment, and we're gonna make them velocity aligned. So now they're all kind of pointing the direction that the speed is traveling, which in this case there's gravity and drag that's kind of helping them fall down. So we're gonna turn off gravity. So now they're just kind of bursting in the direction they need to go, which looks pretty close to the reference that we were talking about when I started, this kind of directional burst of energy in all directions. Is we're already close to it, which is great. So I do think my crappy paint job in Photoshop probably ruined our chances of looking pretty close. So I'm gonna blur this and turn it to 50% and then re-import. Blur is like every artist's best friend, because it kind of saves crappy artistry, I think. Turn off my heater. I didn't see the blur actually. I didn't feel like it did anything. There we go. Okay, now it's doing something. Yeah, it's pretty good probably. And then we'll turn down so we can get something that's closer. The kind of edge sticks out instead. Then we'll save that, and I can come back and be artistic later. This import process should update our texture for us. It's closer, but probably still not very pretty yet. They live too long. So let's change their lifetimes. Right now they're between 2.5 seconds and 1 second. And for my money, I think they should be shorter. The reference is like a burst, like a moment in time. So 0.1 to 0.2 maybe. Bang, bang. Yep. So if we get closer, it's getting there. I think we want to increase our velocity to something like 800. maybe even 1,000. And maybe the bottom number is a 500. Yeah, maybe they don't live as long as they should yet. And I might, now that I know that this is working, randomize the lengths a little more. But that's pretty close to the reference already. So I'm going to save that, and we're going to change this color. We're going to go over here to color mode, and we're going to change this to a blue color. And so in the reference, uh, this blue that they choose is pretty bright, as opposed, or in comparison to what we have, right? If I pause, it's pretty bright in the reference. And the reason for that is, if you're unfamiliar with PBR or kind of VFX in general, the the reason for the color of their effect being super bright and the color of our effect being kind of dim is because they are pushing the value of the color over a value of 1. Any color between a 0 and 1, or any value of color between 0 and 1 is normally the value range of that color by itself. But as you push it beyond a value of 1, you push the color closer to white, and in a PBR setting like Unreal Engine, it's going to start to bloom or self-illuminate, which is why theirs looks bright and ours doesn't. So if we wanted, we could make ours look bright by pushing the value of this above a value of 1, say a value of 5. We can save and compile, and go back to the demo map. And if we save all, by the way, and we hit question mark, oh, no. You know what's really interesting is it feels kind of choppy for me too. Huh. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out why UE5 feels like it's taking like all my damn resources. I wonder if there's a setting to change that like makes that not as bad. But F. I have like serious curiosity, enough curiosity that I'm kind of like wanting to jump into UE4 and see if the stream is different. Enough curiosity that I might actually just do that here right now on stream and see if the stream is any different. Hey, if it's chuggy for you all, let me know if doing what I'm about to do changes that. I'm gonna save all, because this was not the case on any of the previous streams. So let's see. I'm kind of sad about that. If it does have something to do with the engine, I am pretty sad about that. Let's just jump into 426 and we'll start another project, and it'll just be pretty simple. Let's see. While this is loading up, I should mention that I teach an 8-week live course in real-time VFX in Unreal Engine that deals with all kinds of elements of visual effects, explosions, fire, waterfalls, oceans, effects on characters, effects on the world, ribbons, screen effects. If you're at all interested in, oh, I'm watching the stream now, and I see very choppy. Okay, I brought up the stream on another screen just to look and see what it looks like. It's tough. Wow. Thank you all for sticking with me. This is that's pretty bad actually. Hopefully this fixes it. I really, wow. Sorry, let me finish my sentence. I'm teaching an 8-week live course, and I'm really excited about it. And I promise the stream for those will be way better. And yeah, I'm just hoping that anybody who's interested in visual effects and wants to learn more about how to create them will join the class. So I'm gonna link the class website in the chat. Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'm checking out the stream again, and it's way better. Okay. You all let me know if there's any issues in the future. It's pretty smooth now, um, and so I hope that it stays that way. And I'm sorry if anybody joined us and then we lost them because of the stream. It's unfortunate for sure. Yeah, let's just start a new project, and we're not going to worry about it at all. It'll be a blank project, and we'll do it in the Twitch folder, and this will be kind of like take two. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The stream was that bad. I hadn't glanced up. I hadn't turned on Twitch to just see what the stream quality looked like myself until a second ago. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Um, yeah. This is take two. Okay. Burst. Create project. Yeah. This is take two. Sorry about that, everyone. Let's see if using UE4 gives us better stream quality. I might have to figure out what the hell is going on with UE5 because I'm watching the stream now, just independent, and it's perfect, and I don't want any problems to happen. So I'm clicked in the Unreal Engine window, and I'm spinning around, and I don't see any problems. So that's gonna be something to figure out for sure. Create a new folder. I'm gonna call it particles. No space. Sorry. A new one. We're gonna call it materials. I love that we're doing we're essentially starting the stream over 40 minutes in an effort to like make sure that Unreal Engine doesn't get its way, you know. Okay, so in particles we're going to right click and create a new Niagara emitter, and we're going to use the omnidirectional template, and we're going to call this ps_burst, and then we're going to right click and create a Niagara emitter. Wow, I'm amazed at the difference between what I was just watching on the stream and what I'm seeing now. I'm really sorry about that. I thought it would be like a cool thing to do to like start working in UE5, but apparently streaming with that on is problematic. So we're gonna drag our emitter in, and we're gonna go to our content browser, and we'll right click and create another folder, and we'll call it textures. And in the textures folder, boy howdy, we are gonna import our texture from our other UE5 crap project, content textures, and we're just gonna grab burst, and we're gonna put it in our new folder, which is Twitch burst content, and we'll just right click and create a textures folder because the one we did there isn't visible because we didn't have any assets in it. And in textures, paste, and then we'll go back to the engine. Yeah, no choppiness, right? As soon as you closed UE5, it was immediately fine. Exactly. That's so weird, right? Okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out what that means, why that is. But thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for sticking with me. Okay, here we go. In the material editor, right click, new material, m_burst. Yeah, that's a head scratcher because I can't be the only fool trying to stream stuff in UE5. It's like all the resources from my computer were like taken just to like open that thing. That's crazy. All right, hold T, left click to bring up a texture sample. We'll go find our texture and we'll plug that in. Oh, we'll change the shading model to unlit and the blend mode to translucent. And we'll bring in a particle color. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad the stream is better. Maybe we'll continue to stream in UE4 until I work out the stream kinks. Hold M and left click, and that gives us a multiply here, and we'll multiply the opacity by our mask and plug that into opacity. And we'll save. And now we're back where we were before. I don't know if anyone noticed either. If you've been to a previous stream before, you'll notice that I now have this thing on screen that says gift a sub for 20%. You can like subscribe now and give bits and stuff. I got to be a Twitch affiliate, which is super awesome. I did enough streams and worked hard enough, and Twitch was like, "All right, well, now you're in the game." So pretty proud of that. It's awesome. Been trying to really get the stream game going because I think it's another way to reach more people, which is the whole point of Let's Make Effects for me, is just reaching artists who want to learn. So we'll non-uniform these and we'll random them because we already know um, that this is going to work. The maximum value is going to be 200, 100, and then 50, 70 maybe. These are all guesses. I don't know. I'm just trying to like get a good sense of stuff. So in the sprite renderer, we're going to do the same thing we did before, velocity aligned. We're going to remove our drag, and then we're going to add our burst material. Not our drag, I'm sorry, our gravity, and we're going to add our burst material. So once that compiles, we'll see. There you go. Yeah. So compile, save, and the particles live for too long, which we had just kind of started to solve here. 0.3, 0.1. I think they should all kind of die at the same time. So 0.25. Let's just do 0.3 for all of them. I think they're shrinking. They are shrinking. We don't need that. I was like, it feels like they're kind of shrinking. Ah. Oh, hey, thank you. Thank you, Ati. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, so now we're in it here. So, okay. I want to increase my speed to 600-ish. And the reason we're not doing it's not feeling like they're kind of flying away more. Oh, you didn't have to do that, man. That's super cool of you. Thanks, man. That's really, really cool. Thank you. I'm hoping these streams really blow up and we can keep trying to reach people because I think it's so worth it. I wanna give more people the opportunity to learn. So this drag is pretty high probably at the start. We can turn it down. Yeah, and then let's go back to what we were doing with color. So if I push this color over to blue, and then I bump this to like 50, right? So now it's super bright, like the reference material was. 50 is probably a lot, maybe 20 is better. What's important here is that we try to nail what feels to me like a fall off going from top to bottom. Like the particles that are on like the bottom part of, oh, I'm staring at this and you aren't. The bottom part of these particles are kind of faded as opposed to the edges in the top, which I think gives this kind of a bursting kind of feel. So let's try to do that in material. It should be super simple. We're just going to take what we made, which we could have done this, like in our texture in Photoshop, but we're going to take what we made and we're going to use texture coords. So texture coordinates, I feel like I talk about them every time because they're so useful. Texture coordinates are just two. They're a vector 2, and they're two channels of gradient data that are laid on top of each other to form a vector 2. So a green and a red, or a horizontal gradient and a vertical gradient, and if we want the bottom of our particles to be faded, we would use our vertical gradient to fade out our particles vertically. So if we only use one portion of this two-channel data, we can use a component mask to get just the red channel or just the green channel. In our case, we want the green channel, the vertical channel, and we if we look at what that looks like, the gradient is white on the bottom, black on the top, right? And let's look at this on a plane to make sure we're in the right state of mind here. So um, uh, instead of what we want, which is for things to be pretty visible towards the top and pretty invisible towards the bottom, we have the inverse. And so I'm just going to flip this using a 1 minus. And a 1 minus is just wherever I'm white, be black, and wherever I'm black, be white. So you're going to see that we're just going to get the reverse or the flipped version of the gradient that we got from our texture chords. And then we're just going to multiply this by our mask, which will give us the fall off towards the bottom. And that should give us a new kind of look to this, which I think might be a little bit more interesting. And we can actually change the how much this gradient actually affects our mask by doing some things like because it doesn't feel like it's very visible currently. We can use a power node here, and we can use a multiply node. A power node is a node that kind of deals in contrast. It's essentially like pushing the middling values, the gray tones that are kind of in the center of a 0 to 1, to be more 0 or 1. They're removing a lot of the grays and leaving you with a lot more white or black tones, which is why I call it a contrast node. Hey there. Hey, it's a first-time viewer. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you so much for showing up. And I'm actually glad you showed up now because we were incurring some weird stream issues trying to use UE5, and I reverted to my old ways in UE4. So we're just gonna create some parameters. I'm gonna call this pow for power, which is gonna change that contrast, that power value for us to be able to kind of push the gradient towards or away from white or black by removing those middling values like I talked about. So our pow parameter is going to do that. And maybe I'm moving too quickly for people who are not really knowledgeable about UE. So to create a parameter or a value that can be changed outside of the material, you hold S and left click, and it'll bring up a parameter which you can name, which I'm going to name this one mult for multiply. It could have been strength. It could have been, brightness. All of those things kind of denote what a multiply does here. It essentially takes the value and scales it by a multiplier. So I'm going to call that mult, and then we're gonna save, and we're gonna go mess with this in the material instance. One of the cool things about visual effects is that once you get into this space where you get the whole setup done, the fun part is like how you can mess with stuff after. Once the art is ready, or the tech. Once you overcome the tech, having fun doing the art is really the fun part to me. We're gonna save this map because I'm a compulsive saver. We're gonna save it as demo map, and that way everything's just saved up, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. And I'll create our floor again and all the stuff that I did before. But thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming, everyone, today. By the way, I just want to make sure I get to say that before any of you pop in or pop out, which is totally fine by me. By the way, you will not offend me if you got places to be on a Saturday. It's a beautiful Saturday in Los Angeles, actually. So I'm gonna probably go grab some food and drinks after the stream. So. And it was just recently my birthday, and so we're kind of celebrating it because it was on a Monday, and I had to work this week. So, gonna try to get out and have some fun this weekend. So, welcome to birthday stream. So let's look at what the power does for us. Okay. When I scale this power up, you start to see how it eliminates the bottom portion of the texture. It's pushing the sort of gray middle tone values, and I'll get in there closer so we can see it, and maybe even turn off the background and the grid. And so yeah, so if we scale this up, you see how it starts to push the gradient we added away from the bottom and towards the top, starts to remove those kind of gray tone values, pushes us towards white. And if we lower this, or pushes us towards black more. If we lower it, pushes us towards white more, right? So power kind of is a contrast, or changes the value to push it towards or away from kind of the peaks, as opposed to allowing some middle tone values. So um, a default value of 1 just gives us the texture we had before. Oh, why does that seem over bright at the moment? Interesting. Oh, maybe it's because without the background and some of the other stuff that helps kind of change the opacity. It's you just see. Yeah. It was about the background. Okay. I was like, that seems weird. A value of 1 should look pretty similar to what we got in Photoshop. So yeah, so I might use a value of like 2, or even 2.5 maybe to get that for us. And our multiply just makes us brighter, or dimmer, right? And that's what we're getting from that. It is a very shitty, dark, rainy day. I'm sorry, man. I know Germany's not really. Maybe. Well, I don't know that actually. I wonder if Germany is. Oh, thank you, thank you. One of my greatest friends and supporters, for the birthday wishes. Thank you, thank you. Um, so yeah, so we'll just leave it like this, and we'll jump back in to our burst here, and we'll take a look. I don't think we're using our instance here. So let's use our instance. And so now we got a little bit more fade towards that center, right? Which I think is worth it. I think we're closer. I think we have too many particles. We probably could use like a value of 50 here. And that's getting us a little closer. And then our reference has some pretty interesting kind of center burst, and then some kind of spiky jaggies that kind of go out, which I think they're using the same texture to do, which is really funny. Like if you look, these kind of spiky long bits, I think are the same texture, which again, I could have drawn better, but clunky technical issues. So we'll redraw it in a second once this is all set up. But let's add some of these other elements. The long streaks. Let's add those. Let's add some of the kind of shimmery bits that fall off. I think that's kind of cool too. So we'll add some new particles here. We'll go to burst and we'll copy, paste. And we'll call this shimmer, which will be the little shimmery or maybe glitter. Let's call it glitter. And then in glitter, instead of using the particles we did use, we'll just use the default particle for now, and then maybe we'll come back and make it pretty later. Oh, interesting. Well, okay. Here's how you make a quick gradient in Unreal Engine. Open material, and you do m underscore glitter, and again, we can be artistic about this later, I'm sure, but we'll use the same blend modes. So translucent, unlit, and if we right click and we look for gradient, no, I'm sorry, radial. Oops, if I could spell. Radial gradient exponential. Oh, happy Saturday! Awesome. Zergling. I gotta figure out. I didn't know Zergling had a channel, but thank you for coming. I'm gonna plug this into opacity, and I'm gonna use particle color just like we did in the other version. Particle color, and multiply this opacity by the new gradient. So radial gradient exponential just gives us a circular gradient. like a simple, soft, round gradient, which is all we need for our glitter. So that's what we're using. So boom, soft gradient, right? It might be kind of cool. The difference between what we have now and what we could be using, which is what I'm about to show you, uh, is that the entire color is going to be a single color as opposed to having some dark edges and bright centers. And one way that I do that is instead of just using the mask as opacity, I also use it in the color. So if I multiply particle color by the mask as well, you can control and drag pins. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that to you. When I found that out, I was like mind blown. I was like 6 years into using Unreal, and I was like, oh my God, is that a thing for real? So you can't really tell at the moment, but these edges are black now, as opposed to they used to be white. And the reason you might want to do that is because when you go to scale this color, change and scale this color, the edges will remain dark, but the center will be kind of bright. And we might want to do that for our other piece as well. I'm going to save this and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So back in our glitter burst, we're going to use glitter, and you'll see the material show up here in a moment. We don't need our glitter to be velocity aligned. It's still compiling. There they are. And we want to change our size to just be uniform random, somewhere between 10 and 1. But if you look, if I pause this, if I zoom in, you'll see that the edges are blue and the center is that bright color. Whereas if we had just left it the way it was, we would have gotten kind of a consistent blue across, right? And that's not always what we want. We could come in here and scale this up more to 50. Oh, and it changes everything. But if we go find another one, you'll see now we still have that darker blue edge, but the center is kind of bright. And really, the only thing that's really different about the technique here is that the black edge is keeping our color consistent and dark on the edges, as opposed to if this was consistently white across, we would get all bright. And that's really nice for when you're trying to make something look kind of glowy, but still keep color. Utilizing some of the mask in the color channel is helpful. So I'm going to use a value of 30 here, and I'm going to save. And we're going to save here, and we're going to come back to the editor. We didn't add our glitter to our particle. Before we go look at our new work here, I want to add, right-click, glitter to our particle system. And now we have a little glitter going too, right? So now we're getting closer to the reference. It's not pretty yet, and I know that, and we'll pretty it up. One thing we want to do that I think makes this successful is that mask addition, and so let's do that for our burst as well. Rather than just allowing our kind of math here to work for this, let's do it. Let's multiply the final portion of our mask math against our particle color as well. So if I hold M and left click, I get a multiply, and I will drag particle color into A and the mask to B. And I don't really need the fall off because no, let's leave it how it is. It's going to help. Okay, so save. Welcome all to anyone who's a first-time viewer and anybody who's with me again on another stream. Thank you for showing up again and supporting me. This streaming is very new to me. I've taught classes before, I've made tutorial videos before, but having people sort of watch live and drop in and drop out is unique. So anybody who shows up to support, I'm really, really in your debt. You see how my change to using the mask gave us bright edges, but still kind of color in the other pieces. It's a little bit more consistent across the board. I think it's successful. One of the things that artists don't really VFX artists who haven't really experienced what I'm about to do yet, is that one of the things you'll notice about kind of inexperienced VFX work is that the color is very consistent across the board. Um, and one way to sort of change that up or give yourself a little bit of an edge is to use gradient mapping. So maybe we'll do that before we um, uh, get into the next portion of the effect here. So if we go over here to, let's do it in textures, and we right click and we go to, I think it's under miscellaneous, curve. Yeah, we can create a linear color curve. Now, linear color curve is the same as if I was to go into Photoshop and bring in a gradient, and I'll show you. So essentially, it gives you a bar here, and you can change the color and add, pins to the gradient. It's just like making a gradient in Photoshop, except you can utilize this in material to alter the color of your effect. So um, rather than use just a color picker that is a consistent singular color, we could use a gradient of color where when our material is closer to black, it's this color, and when our material is closer to white, it's this color. So we're going to leave that edge as black. We're going to change this color to a blue color. I just added a pin. We're going to change that to a blue color, and then we're going to leave the top of this at a white color. And I think kind of this kind of blue works for me. I'm still kind of unsure how I want to utilize this gradient stuff. Um, uh, if I wanted and I guess what I mean by that is, do I want to scale the value of the color here in this gradient beyond a value of 1 in the gradient, or do I want to utilize the particle system's color values to do that, or in material, I guess I mean. And I think I want to keep the gradient a consistent color and then be able to change and scale the brightness per element, as opposed to having all of them have a similar brightness utilizing this gradient map. So I'm going to leave the color like this, and we'll come back and probably mess with it in a second. I want to change the name of this new curve to blue energy. Names are arbitrary. Blue energy. And we'll just put C at the beginning to denote that it's a curve. And then you can't use this in material because it's just a singular curve. You need a curve atlas. So if we right click and we go to miscellaneous again and we look for curve atlas, we'll just call this CA for curve atlas, and then say energy, because we may or may not want other color curves. We may decide we want some others. So if we open the color atlas we made, we can come over here to gradient curves, and we can add a new gradient. And the gradient we're going to add is blue energy, right? So we'll save, and back in our material, let's just say for our glitter, rather than use particle color here, let's use gradient mapping and see if we get something different here. So if we right click, we look for color, I believe. Wait, is it curve? I think it's curve. Yeah. S curve? No, sorry. Curve atlas. Yeah, there we go. That's what it is. So this is essentially a gradient map. It's as if I went into Photoshop, made a gradient texture, and brought it in here. If I plug this in, excuse me, I'm gonna excuse me. Sorry, that came out of nowhere. So if I plug this in, this is essentially like using another texture sample that has a gradient in it and mapping the black and white values to these colors. So when I plug this into emissive color, it's going to yell at me because it doesn't have a curve to actually use here. And the curve we're going to use, we have to actually go and add the atlas and then choose the curve, blue energy, and then float 4. What? Material float 4 to float 2. It doesn't like. Black and white. Okay. This is what I was trying to show you, which is that you can get color on the edge here and still get brightness in the center using a color curve or gradient mapping, which we could just call this gradient mapping, right? It is the same thing as creating a texture in Photoshop and bringing it in, and then plugging a mask into its UVs to use the gradient as like a LUT or mapping the values of color from the gradient to black and white. So rather than use particle color, we can use this gradient, and then we can shift this in material or in the curve to get different values. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to use the same technique on the other element, and then we're going to see if we get something different that looks better. But I can already tell you that this is going to look cooler. Play. Yeah. So right now, I think we're scaling our color at the end, and maybe we don't want to do that currently. They seem to not be very bright. Oh, we're not using particle color. So yeah, we need a multiplier to scale that brightness value on the glitter. So one way to do that is just come in here and hold M. Oops. And hold S and left click. And you can create a parameter called brightness. And we'll make this a default value of 1. And we'll multiply times that 1. And we'll plug this into emissive color. So we're using gradient mapping to get ourselves a color. And then we're going to boost that color's brightness so that these bits kind of shine. And so we'll use both to kind of create a scenario where the color looks like something that we really want the glitter to look like. So when this saves, we'll jump back in to glitter, and with glitter open, and I'll just bring this over. Oh, no, that's not what I want. I want glitter's material instance, which does it have one? Yeah, we need to create one. So right click, create an instance, and this will allow us to scale that brightness value. And if we come over here to our glitter particle system, and in the material, we use the instance, and we open that instance and start scaling that value, we can kind of get a sense of what it is we want to see brightness-wise. So we don't need this anymore, or we'll keep that because we'll probably end up messing with it. But in the glitter particle system, we can see our glitter, and if we come in here and we change our brightness value, oh, a little chuggy got angry at me. Let's just use a flat value that I input here, 10, 50. So now it's very glowy, but it's also very white, right? So if we save, let's take a look at what that looks like in editor. Oh, yeah. Let's just do our due diligence here and make this 100 by 100. 100 by 100. And then we'll create a quick floor material. M_floor. And I feel like I do this every stream. It's just I just like not looking at anything, nothing taken away from the effect here. So I left clicked, or I held 1 and left clicked to bring up singular floats, 1 for 0, and 1 with a value of 0 and 1 with a value of 1. 0 is for specular because we don't want any shine. 1 is roughness because we want it to just be kind of a singularly rough floor. We can leave it at black, but let's give ourselves the ability to change the color of this thing. So if I hold 4 and click, and I right click and convert to a parameter, we'll just call this color. And I plug that color into the basic floor. And I make it like a little bit less than black. Save. We're going to apply this color to the floor, and that'll just give us like a muted background to look at our effect on. So that's there. We come back and we grab our floor and we drag that on actually, right click, create material instance, then drag that on. Now we just have a muted background. Because we're working with some particles that have some bloom to them, something else that is important is that we go get ourselves a post-processing volume, some way of sort of controlling the what the bloom and brightness looks like. So if we drop that in and we scroll down to the bottom where it says infinite unbound, we want the post-processing volume to affect everything in the world as opposed to just what's inside this. And then if we come over here to exposure and we go to brightness, min and max, if we change these values to a value of 1 and make them both the same, then it keeps a consistent brightness regardless of the lighting in the scene. So now the color of the floor is closer to the color we chose as opposed to being scaled to some brightness value based on what the engine thinks it should look like. We're getting what we want as opposed to what it thinks we should have. So if I come over here and I hit the question mark button, we can see that we have our burst effect. I think it should live. The pieces should live shorter or shouldn't live as long, and obviously the color of our glitter is isn't correct, and so I think what I'm going to do is drag the white value up this way and bring the blue value up this way. And then if we look at our glitter now, we're getting a little bit more blue, but we're still that bright color. So now if we look in engine, this is the kind of the dance with these gradient maps, which I'll drag over to another window and make adjustments while we're staring at it, is that you can scale and change the value of the gradient, and it changes what the particles look like, which is awesome. We can get a good sense of how bright we want things plus how much color we want, as opposed to everything being consistently bright. So yeah, so with this selected, question mark, yeah, we can even go further. So now I just pushed it up to be pretty close. So now we're getting, yeah. So now it's blue, but pretty white in the center. I can obviously back off the brightness to be something like 30 and save, and then come back here and then try again, right? Yeah, so the lower I go with that brightness, the more color I'm going to get, but also the higher I go with my gradient, the more color I'm going to get. So there's a happy middle ground. You just keep testing and seeing how you feel about everything. But what's important is that we want some bright pieces. So, and this is giving us some bright pieces, but still allowing us to reserve our color on the edges. So it's the best method as far as I know to get brightness, but also color. Yeah. So rather than continuing to change the brightness level, we can change the mask. Let's put that back to 50, and we can come in here to our radiant exponential, and we can we can change the look of the mask in several ways. We can change our density, which kind of changes the black to white ratio. So if I promote density to a variable, I think the default value is 233. It's kind of like the visibility portion. And I wonder if I want to do this separate, because we want the particle to be visible, but we want the mask to have, yeah, let's do it as two separate pieces. I'm going to create a second radial exponential, and I'm going to plug this into this. That way we can change where the black and white of the maybe let's not add more stuff. Let's just do it like this. So after we create our gradient, I'm going to add a power node and a multiply node. So we were doing this earlier to change the brightness and the contrast of our mask. We're going to do the same thing here. So right click, and we're going to call this POW, and that'll change our contrast. We'll add a value of 1 here, which means don't change any contrast yet, because we'll do it ourselves. And then second value here, we're going to call this mult, and we'll plug that into here, and then we'll plug this into the gradient. So this will allow us to change the contrast of the gradient without changing the mask that gives us our opacity. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, let's save, and we'll go back, and now we'll mess with it where we'll try to, essentially what I wanted was the ability to remove more of the white from the center and get more blue color, because I think that's what's missing from our current approach. So mult and pow will be helpful to us. So I'm going to drag this over here, and I'm going to go back to the engine. We don't need floor anymore. Go back to the engine, and I'm going to right? So still getting a lot of white. And in fact, in our burst system, I'm going to turn off the burst portions. I just want to look at the glitter. We can focus, and then we'll propagate the work we're doing to our burst. So get in here, and we'll just hit question mark. So a lot of white, not a lot of blue. What we can do is change the power value, reduce the power here. Right? So this is what we're staring at, an engine, and I want more blue and less white. If I use a 0.5 here, oops, sorry, the other way. If I use a 5 here, a 7 here, a 9 here, 100, right? It starts to remove or push the gradient on this gradient map one way or another. The power is helping us with that because it's changing the mask, right? So if I come over here, it's kind of hard to do all of this on the same window so that you can see it. But if I start to pull some of these values, it changes what this looks like, right? It's I guess it's harder to see. So what I'll do is I'll drop blue here, push it really close to the edge. In fact, I could just remove black. I wonder why that doesn't feel like it's actually doing anything. Okay. Here's fun. What if I just remove the blue? Do I have to hit save first? Why doesn't it feel like you're using this gradient? Did I never plug it in? Oh, it's just Unreal didn't update. Okay. I get the feeling it's gonna crash on me if I try to like do some other shit. So I guess I have to hit save in both windows before it actually does an update. That's really silly. Okay. Let's make that black again. So this is what I was trying to do before, right? Change the maybe this isn't in real time. Maybe that's why I wasn't doing it. Change the edge color so that as we start to scale these things, see, yeah, as you start to move these things, it should have been doing this before. It was just acting wonky. We can change where the color drops and get something different, right? Where we're getting more or less dark color, and so our glitter will look a little different. So this should look different now. This was what I was hoping for. So back in engine, we're getting less white and more blue. Yeah, there you go. There you go. But we still get color, which is important. So we'll turn back on our burst. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We'll turn back on our burst. Then we'll come here and we'll hit it again. Yeah, okay. So now if we change some stuff, it'll be consistent, which is good. That's what we want. Yeah. So now more blue, but we still got kind of that white center, so it looks a little bit more like glitter, which is great. And we want to do the same thing to our bursts, and then we're going to add the cross-section versions, and then we're going to be good to go. Okay. So the work that we did in glitter here, which is to say taking the mask, giving ourselves the ability to change the power and the value of that, plugging it into a gradient curve, and then allowing us to create a brightness. We're going to copy that, go to our burst, paste it, and then take our mask from here. Yeah, take our mask from here. And let's just do it this way for now. And then plug this into color and not worry about this anymore, because we're going to use the same color. And the benefit of this, by the way, is that if I change the gradient curve, it changes the color of both particles, which is the hope, or which was the thing I was trying to get to at the end of this, is that allowing ourselves to change one value to change multiple pieces or elements of our particles is the benefit, is to the benefit of every particle artist, every VFX artist. Changing one thing in one place and then having that change a bunch of things in a bunch of places is to our benefit. So see, different. Rather than leave it where it is, we should come in here and take a look at burst versus glitter and try to match the brightness levels and the power and stuff like that. So the so the brightness of our glitter is 50. Maybe we want to up the brightness on this element too, right? So now we got kind of a bright edge, bright tip. Let's just see how that feels. Right? It's closer. I feel good about that change. That was a good change. Check this out. Where's our reference? This is our reference, right? Let's just do this. We'll just put them side by side. This was our reference, and this is our effect. It's not identical yet, but it's pretty close, right? It's pretty close. All the work we did got us pretty close so far. I think they have kind of a deeper blue behind some of their particles, which we'll get to. We can add a deep blue to our gradient, and their particles are maybe a little fatter, longer. Maybe there are less of them, but I think we're close. Let me look at what that looks like on stream. Oh, am I frozen? Oh, I'm not frozen. I'm staring off to the side. I just wanted to see and make sure that the frame rate for when I'm clicking this button over and over and looking at what we have in editor. Oh yeah, it's great. It's great frame rate. Okay. Man, I'm just paranoid because UE5 was so bad. For those of you who may or may not have joined the stream later, we tried UE5 earlier, and it was a disaster. It made the stream unwatchable. So yeah, what I want to do is make some final changes. Add some of these cross section bars you see here. These kind of they're just spark directional pieces. I want to add some of those, and then try to match the timing a little better, because I really like the timing. It's very quick. They're like on screen, off screen. This is a really cool effect. Sikudo_MG is the artist, and yeah, give them a follow, give them a shout out. They're cool. So there's also a centerpiece here that I think really helps ground this all. So I'm gonna add that as well. So yeah, so they kind of turn to a dark blue over time, which I think is kind of cool. So on our gradient, let's go back to our engine, and then we'll remove the reference again. Let me drag this up here. Put this here. Yeah. So let's get closer to that. We'll hit F and then take another look. Yeah. So we need less particles in our burst. So we'll go over to burst and we will what if I made them long? Well, if I'm I'm going to do something interesting. I'm going to change the pivot, the Y pivot of these. You see what that did? It pulls the bottom of the particle system closer to the center as opposed to where it was before. I don't think we need a 0 value here, but I think we need like a 0.3, 0.2. So that got us a little closer. I think we need probably less particles. So if we come up here to burst, instead of doing 50, let's do 20. Yep. I think they live too long. And I think we need to change the material. We're only getting like some of this now. So if we use a POW, I think glitter was 100. Yeah. I don't know that we want 100. Maybe we'll 20. Changing the contrast. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. See, now we're getting a little something more. So 2 maybe. 2 might work for us. Gives us a couple more little pips at the top. And we'll go back to burst. Yeah, so now we're seeing a little more. It's the kind of thing where I because of how random the distribution is, sometimes I don't like what it looks like. I'm trying to add a little drag. I feel like even though the velocity is great, which this doesn't have to be random really. I think it probably could just be a singular value of 500. And let's do direct set here. 0.2. Yeah, we're getting closer. I changed the lifetimes so that they're shorter. Yeah, it's closer. I think we could do a cooler sprite now that we have all of this stuff working. Yeah, it's closer. We're going to save. I'm going to increase the drag to 2. Yep. I'm going to change the particle color, or particle width. Yep. Yeah, we're almost there. We're going to add some interesting. I want my my glitter to come out and hold, so I'm going to increase the drag to 6. And I think I want to add some curl noise. So let's get them to kind of like float around and feel kind of glittery. Yeah, so it just wants the curl noise to be above. So if we increase this strength to like a 500, you'll see they start to kind of come out and then shift a little. Let's do 1,000. 3,000. Oops, that was 300. 3,000. Yeah, right. So now you see them kind of start to spin and rotate. What I want to do is change their lifetimes. I think I want them to live longer. So now you see the kind of spinning and whirling that I was trying to get from some curl noise. Yeah. I think that adds a little element of something. 3,000 might be too high now that they live so long. So like 1,000. So they're just kind of fireflying around, which I think is kind of nice. So now let's take a look. get closer, and we'll turn off all the other pieces. It's close. I think we need a centerpiece that helps to ground where the center of this thing is. I think we need one. And then some of the kind of shooty spark pieces. So let's just save. We'll add ourselves a little center burst particle system. So we'll go over to particles, create a new particle system. Actually, we'll duplicate glitter. So copy paste, and we'll call this center. And for center, we're just going to open that up. And rather than use all this curl noise and have particles kind of flying out in different directions, we're going to turn all that off. Don't need any drag or sphere location. We're just going to have them be right at the center. We're going to burst a singular particle, and we're going to make it bigger. So rather than be random, we're just going to have it be uniform, and we're going to have it be 400. Oh, that's really big. 100 maybe. Let's see what 100 looks like. Might be too big. Let's go over to our burst system, and we'll add our center burst. So now we got our little center there. I think it needs to come up and then die quick. So we're gonna do scale sprite size. And I think they live too long, and it's too random at this point. I need it to be direct set 0.2. Bang, 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 right? So that's going to add a lot to us, I think. Yep, bang, bang. Yeah, see? VFX is fun, man. I love doing this. I've been doing this for 10 years, and it's not boring to me ever. I just can't tell you how much I love doing this kind of work. I think it's too big. 50. Let's try that. All right. Bang. Bang. Yeah. I think we're in the ballpark of what it is we wanted to make today. Bang. Bang. Yeah. So let's just take a look at what that looks like in Engine. I'll go to the world outliner here, and I'll select my particle system. And so I turned off all the emitters, or the widgets. G does that. Just tapping G with the viewport selected does that. And then if I just hit question mark, right, it's pretty close. It's definitely not as pretty yet, but it's pretty close. Bang, bang, right? What I want to do for our glitter is I want to shrink it over time, just like I'm doing the centerpiece. So I want the sprites to shrink out. There we go. Yeah, and that just eliminates them from screen, right? So, yep. Yeah, there you go. I really think we made something cool today, y'all. It's not over yet. We still got about 20 minutes on stream. I'm gonna do some kind of cross-sectiony, kind of thinner versions of this to add. I'm gonna call them sparks. Let's call them sparks. So I'm gonna take our burst system and I'm gonna duplicate it. So copy paste, and I'm gonna call this sparks. What's fun in these streams for me is once we've done our full setup, and we can just be artistic and add pieces and not be too worried about like making something that people on stream won't hate. Once I get there, it's just like, oh, we've already made something, and now we're just kind of noodling with it. That's when the stream gets really fun for me. So I hope everyone else is enjoying themselves. I don't think we need any of these material instances at the moment. or this part. Yeah, so all we need is particles right now, and let's just have some fun. Uh, let's add the spark elements. So I want these to be super thin. Super thin. So rather than 50 here, let's do a value of 10 for both of these. Even 10. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And I want these to be a dark hue, which I'm wondering if the way to do that is to make them less. It's like I want to. Maybe I make a second material instance. Yeah, let's see if what happens if I make a second material instance. And in this instance, I'm going to just call it dark. And all we're going to do is back off the brightness. Wait. Why is the default value of this 50? Oh, maybe what I made was a... yeah, see the parent. Yeah. So this is kind of cool. One thing you can do is create a material instance of an instance. You can create like a sibling parent relationship to an instance as opposed to a material. And all this does is if I change the values of its parent, then the default values of the child that we create also change. So it's just like another way of like if most effects use this material and I set a certain amount of values that seem really awesome, and then I want to make like a version of this that's a little different but still keep all the remaining values, creating an instance of an instance is a cool way to do that. It doesn't really matter in this case, but just to mention it that it's possible, I'm gonna just create an instance from the original material because and the only reason for that is because the default values are pretty dark already. So let's do that. So to me, if I was to go to Sparks and change, yeah, that's not this color value, change the material to be dark, now they're going to be a bit darker. And so I don't want to lose out on the visibility element of this, which I think comes from our POW. So I'm going to make the POW 2. Oh, 0.5 maybe. Let's make this more visible. Oh, 0.7. It's like it's a dance, a delicate dance here. I guess I could make it brighter, but then change the POW, right? To be point. Oh, sorry, other way. 50. Oh, see, but then it won't be visible. 3, 2. Yeah, it's kind of like I want similar visibility, but a different part of the gradient to be visible here. 2, 3, 4, maybe. Let's do that. Or I want some way of like dialing in that where we are on that gradient map, which I guess maybe Multiply does that because it changes the mask's look as opposed to after we've already created a gradient. Let's try that. I do want it to be bright, but I don't want it to be. Yeah. So this is what we're looking for. Well, because I guess does that have an effect on the? I'm forgetting what the material, how we set it up. Yeah. This is the problem with this setup is the opacity and what goes into the gradient should be separate like we did with the glitter. So let's do that instead. This one is for opacity. This sort of series of values is for opacity. And then we should do a different series of values that have the same It's like we want. Oh, we gave ourselves it. Oh, I just named them the same thing. That's really funny. Okay. We just need to rename these. Yeah. Yeah, you will. You will, man. Oh, are you only 2 years in to the industry? IT? Are you still? Are you only two years into the industry? Um, while we're doing that, I'm gonna change this to be opacity, POW. That way we can distinguish between which values are being used for opacity and which are for color. I didn't even notice that I did that. I used the same value names because they're just the ones I use all the time. Okay, so these ones are for opacity, and then these ones are going to be for color. And what this gives us is the ability to um, change the color, change where we are on the gradient spectrum, but not change the how visible the particles are, because we don't want to do that. So color, and this may or may not ruin some other stuff we've done, but I don't think it will. Yeah, if there are any other effects artists in the chat, sound off, man, because I just love meeting new effects artists. I hope you're all part of our Discord, which is in our link tree, and you can click on the Discord here in the Twitch channel and go directly there and join up. Um, I'm my hope is to collect as many effects artists as possible, so we can all share in each other's knowledge bases and like enjoy this space with each other. Because I think sometimes there's this fear that like sharing your knowledge kind of makes you less valuable, and I hate that idea. I want people to feel like they can, um, be um, forthcoming with all of how they're tackling problems, so we can all learn from them. It's totally the point of these streams for me. There we go. Oh yeah, 2 years. Awesome, man. Yeah. Well, congrats, man. Congrats on the third year coming. It only gets better. You learn more stuff. It starts to get more interesting as time goes on. Your priorities shift. Yeah. So this is. Yeah. Oh, you also just turned 23. Oh, congrats, man. Congrats. Hey, happy birthday to you as well. I hope you got a cool chance to celebrate and enjoy that. 23 is a awesome age. I am 10 years older than you. I turned 33. We're close, y'all. We're close. I want the sparks to shoot out further, so we're gonna yeah, there you go. And so we lessened the drag, so the velocity kind of harder to have more years. Yeah, I know. You've only been on the planet for so long. Yeah, you do got to catch them all. That's my hope, is to collect all the effects artists I can. 0.5. Yeah. So we're just increasing the distance that these guys can travel. Mm, I don't want them to go so far that they don't look like they're part of the effect, though. One of the things that's bothering me about this one is that the burst particle systems look different now, and so I think I want to make sure that they look like they used to. So that change that I just made is going to give that to us. We'll try again. Yeah, there you go. Now we're back to where we were. Hit G. Yeah. It's, you can't tell me that's not pretty close to that reference, man. This is one of the fun things about effects art, is that I like to like see someone's effect and then say, I wonder how they did that. I wonder how I'd do that. So let's get our reference again and take a look and see if we're in the ballpark of what it is they made. Again, Sikudo_MG is the artist of this effect, and I just think it's really simple and cool. So we'll hit ours and we'll watch theirs and see if we're in the ballpark. I think we're pretty close, y'all. Give me your honest opinions. Are we close? Let's see. I think we're close. I think their kind of burst texture is better, but I think we're close. I think our timing is off too. I think their particles leave screen a lot sooner than ours do. But give me your opinion. Okay, so I'm going to limit the lifetimes on all of it, and then I'm going to make a change to the gradient, and then we're going to evaluate one more time. But I think we're in the ballpark. Yeah, give me your thoughts when you're ready. Okay, so for everything, for all of the lifetimes of all the pieces, I'm gonna save all. I'm gonna half them. So right now, these live for 0.2 seconds. I'm gonna make them 0.1 seconds. And that might have been a crazy change. These live for 0.2 seconds. I'm gonna make it 0.1 seconds. It's like perceived. Yeah, let's I think I would have made this 0.5 to begin with anyway, so let's do 0.25 and 0.15. Yeah, let's see. And then bursts, let's make them 0.1. I think it's gonna suck, but you know, you got to make these changes to see how you feel about it. So here we go. For anyone who's just joining us, welcome in. Oh, too close. It's one of my favorite parts of. Oh, just jumped in. His waves are much sharper. Yeah, no, I know. I think we need to do. So it would either be an extra noise breakup, but yeah. I think we need to reevaluate the texture. It's when I start working on effects, I often, you know, I try really hard not to work too long on the. It's pretty close. Yeah, the sparks are a bit smaller and the timing is different. Yeah. But we're pretty good, right? Yeah. Um, I think we could do work to make the texture better. We could improve the timing a little bit, which I think is what we're going to do here at the end of the stream. Try to get the timing. Yeah, so I think we went too far. Killing the particle lifetimes. So let's try to find a happy medium. Maybe 1.5. That way we can actually perceive them a little. And then I think we're going to keep what we did to the glitter. I think we're going to do a 1.5 on these bursts as well. And let's see how that feels. Oop. Yeah, there you go. My focus went weird. G to turn everything off again. It's closer. I think our center should live longer because I'm not even seeing it anymore. 0.2. It's pretty close. It's just, you know, we're like right there. 0.2 is too long. 0.15. I think the glitter. I think the glitter could live to be 0.3. Some of it, right? So we're kind of honing in on some of the differences here. Yeah, this is the fun for sure, man. This is it. We're close. We're gonna change our texture because I want to, and I think the his kind of directional spark pieces go out further. So I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna let them do their thing here, and let's see, is that closer? Oh yeah, we're in it, y'all. almost. Bit of timing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just nudging little pieces now, right? Which is the cool part. Once you get here, it's just, what else can I do to get closer? What else can I do to get closer? And you just make small changes and see how you get there. I'm gonna save all because I'm a compulsive saver and I totally don't remember the last time we saved. But um, Jaddeeb, I wanted to say thank you for coming, and because you're a first time in the chat. This is your first time seeing the stream. Thank you for coming and supporting me. Um, we are a small operation, Let's Make Effects, and we're just trying to grow, man. We got a Discord. Hopefully, if you're interested in learning more about effects art, you jump in on the Discord. There is a live teaching course that I'm doing for anyone who's in the stream or jumping into the stream. Um, that is just this. It's just us making effects together and you learning the tools of the trade. You'll learn a bunch of cool and interesting things, and you'll get access to all the project files and all the videos and 24-hour access to me for portfolio critique and all kinds of other stuff, industry advice, anything you need for a full 8 weeks. So if you're interested in that, there's a link on the Twitch page there, and there I just threw a link into the chat earlier, but I can grab it and put it back here again. But thank you for joining us. Yeah, just go there for more details and information. The one thing I wanted to do before we get off stream here is take another look at this. Was to go over to the gradient and make a change to that. So right now our gradient only has kind of like the white color, like a dimmer blue, and then it goes to black. But I think his particles have kind of a third blue element to them. If I can grab the window that he was in again. So here, if you look at some of those elements, they get to this kind of darker blue as opposed to the bright blue that we have. And so my hope was to add a pin to this gradient that was that darker blue hue, that kind of, you know, uh, it's almost like a purple, it's almost like a purple color. Um, something like that, maybe like yeah, something like in there. And let's see if that does some wonky things to it or really helps improve our how close we are. So let's come here and we'll hit it. Oh, that definitely changed some stuff. That definitely changed some stuff. I think we probably want to push this dark color further down the gradient line and then see how we feel about it. Yeah, once you start to uh, mess with gradients, which I'm changing the gradient on the fly. I hope you can see it here in the window on the bottom there. But I'm just trying to see if there's some cool stuff we can do with that gradient color. I know a lot of our elements are closer to that bottom value, and so we're maybe getting more dark blue than we want at the moment. But there's something real nice about adding that third layer of color. You guys tell me how you feel about it. I think it's given us something. We're coming right here to the end of the stream, but I don't know that it was a bad change. I just think, yeah, I mean, maybe we just go full bore, mostly blue. Yeah, see, that's so interesting to me. I'm trying to create. Oh, no, don't go back down. Sorry. I'm like on the other screen trying to create a gradient that actually feels like it's close to the one that underscore MG is using. Use that, and then this. I'm just so this is, I don't know if anyone knows this either. You can drag colors into the color picker there, and then use them in any other parts of the editor. So you can do something like that to get the same color on both pins. There's something real nice and interesting that's going on with the additional dark color that I think I could noodle with all day to get us close. But we're coming to the end of the stream, so I don't want to hold anybody all day. But you know, we're in the final stages of messing with something that I think could be really unique and fun. So hopefully everyone has enjoyed themselves today, and you know, can go and mess with this stuff later. If anyone's interested in the projects that you see us working on here on Twitch, I just removed the dark color so we can get back to something that looks pretty close to what we had before. So we can end stream with something. Yeah, I think that dark color is the key to like getting us a little closer, but I like this a lot. If anyone's interested in the files, you know, just wanting to take this thing and pick it apart, it adds this small second layer. Yeah. Looks better. Yeah. I agree, IT. I think I should noodle with that a little bit more off stream. But if anyone's ever interested in the files that we're creating here on Twitch, you can join us on Patreon. And if you join us at the first tier, you get access to the shaders. If you join us on the second tier, you get shaders, models. And if you join us on the third tier, you get shaders, models, textures, like the whole project file, essentially. I just drag and drop the project file and drop it on Patreon, and you can have it. So that's the top tier loot, third tier. And that's a great way to learn more about effects as well and support us, because you know, the more people support, the more I can be engaged with you all and give more opportunities to learn. And so it's kind of a full circle, right? All of the money and time and effort that I'm putting in goes to you, and then if you give back to me, then I can give you more, right? So my hope is that you join us on our Discord, which is there in the on the Twitch channel, on our Patreon. If you're interested in getting the files from these Twitch streams, I have a YouTube with a bunch of free tutorials. It's youtube.com/Let's Make Effects. I'm on all the social media platforms: Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I have a real-time VFX page as well, which I have not shown some love in a while because I've been so engaged in sort of amassing more effects artists and putting together the server. But I just enjoy this work so much, and I just enjoy spending time with you all doing it. And so my hope is that you come back and you support me and the channel and the servers, and we can do this again. Okay. I hope you all have a really awesome Saturday. Hit me up on social media with any questions you have. Join us for our February live course, which is coming up here, February 2022. It's an 8-week live course where you can learn real-time VFX from me live in a virtual classroom, sitting side by side with a bunch of other effects artists who want to learn. And you get access to all the project files and the materials, everything from the course. You get 24-hour access to me to